What is up, Need for Speed Racers? We're back with part 2 of the A+ Porsche RSR build series. Yesterday, I released the video on the purple one of the RSR. Great car. That one was a little bit more balanced horsepower and torque, had a better top speed. This is the other build that we've been working and brewing as a group. Big shout out to Slof, QuuuuB, Dustin_TV, and there's a few of the other guys that were participating in this, but those are the big three that really helped pioneer this car and put it where it's at today. The reason I bring it to you is because it is a separate motor, it is a separate tune, it has very different stats, it handles very differently, but it's very viable. The other car was more balanced. I would say this is kind of, it's got its niche. There is no track race that this loses on, though, in comparison. It's very, very strong. That's why I'm bringing it to you, because it's enough of a different setup that it's almost like a completely different car. And so I have two of them. I've got the purple one in A+ class. I've got this one in A+ class. And depending on the series, I run either one of them. So like I said yesterday, I was splitting them down the middle. This is the other half to that split. So let's dig right in, give it a look. Also, if you guys like my build videos, I'm trying to grow in the YouTube space, click that like button, click that follow button. That helps me out by, it gets my video in front of more people that are watching different Need for Speed content or racing game content. And so you can help me grow my very small channel by just clicking a few of those buttons. And if you like what's going on, shout out in the comments, say hello. All of that actually helps a ton when you're new, especially. So help me blow up that YouTube algorithm and participate a little bit with me. I'd really, really appreciate it. Let's dig right in. So the engine that we're using in this one today is the 2.6 liter, we are running the 2.2 liter i4. This is actually a diesel motor that many of you may or may not know. They actually have a diesel in here. It sounds way different. It's got a way different way it's set up. It's a spicy boy, but it has very different handling characteristics. And so this is one that QuuuuB was working on, and this car slaps. It's really cool. So you're going to run the 121 brake horsepower, 2.2 liter inline 4 out of the basics. For the parts, you're going to run the Sport intake or induction. You're going to run the Sport ECU. You're going to run the Elite fuel system. You're going to run the Elite exhaust. You're going to run the Elite supercharger. This is the Roots supercharger, not the screw. You know, as we've talked about on the channel, they do the exact same horsepower and torque figures, but this one being a little more expensive has a little less on the number side of things. So if you're doing your own tunes, throw that one in. You'll save yourself some points. From there, we are able to run the Pro NOS, a little bit better bottle on this. And I found these Porsches really take the bottle very well. Like, they really, really react to NOS very well. We are running Elite road suspension. We're running just the regular super brakes that come on it. We are running Elite grip tires on this build. We're leaving the clutch alone. We are running the 7-speed transmission. We are running Elite differential. As always, those auxiliary, that's up to you. If you're running drift, if you're running grip, do what you do. On this one, actually, after driving the car the way I've been running with it, I'm going to switch the near miss to the nitrous drift. This car slides and it grips. It's good to have both. Other than that, there's no way to get this car to 100% grip build, and so it's an 80% grip build. It's just the way the car and the chassis is set up. And so when you go dip into the handling, you're going to run it all the way to the left. You're going to go full 80% grip on this car. Steering sensitivity, that's up to you. I always like to go a couple clicks high. Downforce, I've got all the way high. That being said, there's nowhere else you can go in that slider with an 80% grip build other than the last 2 clicks. And that doesn't make a huge difference. So if you want to just run it all the way to the right, that's probably the easiest. Traction control off. I'm running drift entry off. We've been working with this drift entry. I think I'll release a video on that maybe in the coming week, or maybe later this week. We'll have to see how things go. There's a certain way that drift entry can actually slide in, grip out, and you can get a lot going. But it's a kind of an upper echelon of the driving techniques. And so it won't be for everybody, and I don't want to release it all willy-nilly and people will be like, oh, this is hard, or the car sucks, or whatever. I want to be able to, like, really explain it in such a way that everybody will understand, because it is difficult, but it's faster. So, but all of that being said, with this build, you end up with a top speed of 165, 0 to 60 of 3.6, horsepower 486, max torque 715, quarter miles 11.4. This car is not great at launch. So for the first quarter mile of the race, it's not doing as much. You might get some people that come around you. This car really shines when it shifts into 6th gear and 7th gear. All of that torque in those higher gears, this thing just plows through the corners. I mean, it hooks up and just carries a tremendous amount of corner speed. And so all of the races that are on the track that have bank turns and such, this car really carries its own. It also does really good up in the twisties, up in the mountain. I prefer the other build for the city driving where it's 90-degree corners and accelerating out. I think it does a little better, and usually those playlists have a higher top speed section. And so the other purple Porsche having that higher top speed, it really shines. But on any of the tracks where you're going to have the mountains, or you're going to be running through like the track racing where it's actually the circuit track, this car does really, really well. And so I would recommend you try them both. If you can only afford one versus the other, maybe save some money. This motor is not very expensive when you come to buy this one. Like, you'll notice we've got a handful of these motors already purchased, and the ones that I don't own on this car, I own on the other car. We've really brewed with all of them, but it shouldn't cost too much. And then with the parts we're on here, we've got a few elite parts, but you know, it's all said and done, you should be able to build this car for maybe $250,000 if you've already got the car owned. So I would give it a try. That being said, this is a hard car to drive. Point blank. You can't just gun it out of the corners and expect it not to slide. There's a certain way that it wants to be driven. And so I would recommend that you be patient with it. You practice with it. I saw some of the guys in the comments of the other build like, this thing's not good. It's like, it's probably a skill issue with your driving, not a car issue, because it is really good. That's why all of us on my crew, we're driving it right now, because it's kind of the meta. But other than that, like, follow, subscribe, press any of those buttons for me. It would really help me out a lot. Trying to grow in the YouTube space, it's tough, man. It's really tough. So other than that, come and check me out when I'm live streaming. I stream almost every day. We get a lot of people in the party. I will race with anybody. There is no skill level that you have to be. There is no cars you have to own. You're running rental cars, you're brand new, but you want to race with us? Cool, jump in. If you're better than us, I want you there, because that's how I get faster. And if you're worse than us, and I say us by the crew that we normally run with, there's like 5 or 6 guys that always pop in. Come run with us. That's how you're going to get faster. So either way, bring your game, come and play, let's have fun. I'm Alex Coordinate, your wheelman. You have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.